The pump may not be guessing. You pull in after work, tired, already calculating groceries, rent, insurance, and the bill waiting at home. The sign says fuel jumped again. No warning, no choice. You pay, because life does not pause for cheaper gasoline. Then, oil prices fall. Headlines calm down. The market supposedly improves. And somehow, the pump barely moves. Now that old frustration has a new twist. A lawsuit in California claims major fuel retailers used AI-driven pricing software from Calibrate fuel systems to push prices about 30 cents per gallon higher than normal competition would have produced. More than 1,700 stations are named, including BP, Walmart, Marathon Petroleum, 7-Eleven, Albertsons, and Circle K. This is not just about gas. It is about who really sets the prices, draining your budget. For decades, drivers have had the same complaint. Fuel prices rise instantly, then fall painfully slowly. Economists even gave the pattern a name: rockets and feathers. Prices launch upward like rockets, then drift downward like feathers. The usual explanations sound reasonable at first. Wars disrupt markets. Hurricanes threaten refineries. Pipelines break. Seasonal fuel blends cost more. Wholesale contracts lag. Inventory was bought earlier at higher prices. But something feels uneven. When crude oil rises, pump prices react almost immediately. When crude oil falls, suddenly everyone is asked to respect supply chains, timing, contracts, and complicated market mechanics. That is the contradiction. Most older explanations were built before modern pricing software could watch competitors, traffic, demand, and local conditions almost constantly. So the question changed. Are fuel prices slow to fall because markets are messy, or because software learned exactly how much people will tolerate? Fuel is not like a luxury purchase. You can delay buying a television. You can cancel a vacation. You can stop browsing for a new sofa. But most people cannot simply stop commuting, delivering, working, caring, building, or moving. Fuel is the price of participation, and that makes it a dangerous budget leak. It looks small per gallon, but it hits week after week. A few cents here, a sudden spike there, one more painful fill-up before payday. Then your monthly spending plan collapses before you understand what broke.
Fuel also touches almost everything around you.
Trucks move food, farmers run equipment, contractors reach job sites, delivery vans bring packages, emergency vehicles operate on it. Even people who never drive still pay for fuel through shipping, groceries, services, and local prices. When fuel costs rise, the increase spreads. When fuel prices stay higher than expected, households do not just pay at the pump. They pay again through the price of nearly everything transported. That is the trap. That is why the California lawsuit matters beyond one state. Filed on June 22nd in the Eastern District of California, it accuses several major gas station operators of manipulating pump prices through AI-driven pricing software from Calibrate fuel systems. The complaint says the tool allegedly used competitor data to influence fuel costs. It targets more than 1,700 gas stations across California, including BP, Walmart, Marathon Petroleum, 7-Eleven, Albertsons, and Circle K. The key allegation is sharp. Where the automated software was widely used, prices allegedly rose about 30 cents per gallon above what normal competition would have produced. That is not spare change. The complaint describes the arrangement as an illegal algorithmic price-fixing scheme involving Calibrate and large fuel retailers. Those claims are allegations, not proven facts, but the numbers are large enough to make every budgeter pay attention. Because if the lawsuit is right, the price on the sign was not just responding to the market. It may have been shaped by software designed to know exactly where resistance ends. Calibrate is not some hidden machine in a basement. The company openly markets pricing technology for fuel retailers. Its materials describe tools that analyze competitors, traffic, demand, wholesale costs, local conditions, and many other variables before recommending an optimal price. That word matters. Optimal for whom?
A customer hears competition and imagines one station fighting another for business. One sign reads $3.49. A nearby station lowers its price to $3.46. Drivers notice. The cheaper station gains customers.
That is the market most people imagine. Messy, local, human. But what if that picture is outdated? If a station owner relies on software to recommend pricing, the decision may no longer feel independent in the old-fashioned way. If thousands of stations use similar tools, similar data, and similar goals, prices may begin moving together without anyone meeting in a back room. That is the modern concern. Using pricing software is not illegal. Using artificial intelligence is not illegal. Making a profit is not illegal. Businesses have always used information to set prices. Courts exist because allegations require evidence, and the California case has not been proven. But technology can change incentives before laws catch up. Social media began as connection. Smartphones began as convenience. Connected vehicles began as helpful features. Years later, consumers discovered data collection, tracking, targeted ads, and privacy concerns hidden inside everyday tools. Pricing software deserves the same scrutiny. Not panic. Scrutiny. The issue is not whether algorithms are evil. They are tools.
The issue is whether those tools make competition sharper for consumers or smoother for companies trying to protect margins. Because a pricing algorithm does not need to be angry, greedy, or secretive. It only needs an objective. If the objective is to maximize return, it can test the limits of a neighborhood faster than any manager with a clipboard ever could. It can notice that commuters still buy at $3.79. It can notice that nearby stations move in the same direction. It can notice that drivers complain but keep filling up. And once it notices, it can recommend the next price. Fuel is only the visible starting point. Calibrate software is used across the United States and in Europe, according to reports around the case. If this kind of pricing logic spreads across markets, the pump becomes a warning sign for every household budget. Not because every algorithm is illegal, not because every price is rigged, but because the consumer may no longer be negotiating with a storefront. The consumer may be negotiating with a system. Algorithmic pricing is already familiar in other industries. Hotel rates change constantly. Airline tickets jump between searches. Ride-sharing fares surge when demand rises. Online retailers adjust prices quickly. Insurance companies increasingly rely on predictive models. Rental housing companies have also faced accusations involving algorithmic pricing. Different markets, same basic idea. Gather huge amounts of data, watch competitors, measure demand, predict behavior, estimate what customers are willing to pay, then recommend the price that produces the strongest return. That sounds efficient in a boardroom. It feels different when your bills are due. Real competition depends on uncertainty. One company takes a risk and cuts prices. Another answers. Consumers shift their money. Businesses fight for loyalty because losing customers hurts. But algorithms reduce uncertainty. They can analyze competitor prices, traffic patterns, weather, buying habits, historical reactions, local demand, and tolerance thresholds in seconds. That power can help companies avoid mistakes. It can also help them avoid leaving money on the table. If a 5-cent increase stays in place, most drivers may not change stations. 5 cents feels too small to justify a detour. But across billions of gallons sold each year, tiny increases can turn into billions of dollars. That is why this is a personal finance story. Your budget rarely fails from one dramatic purchase. It often fails from repeated small charges that become invisible. Fuel is one of the biggest examples, because the price changes faster than most people can plan. You can cancel a subscription. You can wait for a sale. But when the tank is empty, the decision window collapses. You are not comparison shopping like a relaxed consumer. You are solving an immediate problem. And systems built around pricing know the difference. Then the story widened. Within days, President Trump publicly criticized gasoline retailers for not passing lower oil prices on to drivers.
The Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission encourage state attorneys general to examine possible antitrust violations, unlawful coordination, and consumer protection issues in petroleum markets. That proves nothing by itself. Investigations are not convictions. Political criticism is not courtroom evidence, but it signals that enforcement agencies are looking at whether competition in petroleum markets is functioning as expected. That is a serious shift. The deepest question is not whether every price increase is illegal. Many are not. Energy markets really are complex. Refineries do go offline. Hurricanes do affect supply. Global markets do move fast. But the deeper question is whether consumers are still seeing competition, or whether they are seeing optimization dressed up as competition. That difference matters. Competition pushes companies to win your business. Optimization studies how much pain you can absorb before you walk away. Competition asks, how do we attract the customer? Optimization asks, how far can we move the number before the customer breaks? Those are not the same question. And the danger is not limited to gasoline. If pricing systems become the quiet layer underneath daily life, then budgets stop being simple spending plans. They become defense systems. You are no longer just avoiding impulse buys. You are trying to survive markets that can adapt faster than you can think. For anyone trying to control expenses, the lesson is simple. Stop treating changing prices as random noise. Track them. Compare nearby stations. Watch weekly patterns. Build a fuel category in your budget that assumes volatility, not stability. Use the same mindset everywhere. Check hotel prices on different days. Compare airline fares before committing. Reshop insurance at renewal. Watch delivery fees, app fees, and online prices. A modern budget must defend against dynamic pricing, not just impulse spending. That does not mean becoming paranoid. It means becoming harder to profile. Do not always buy at the same moment. Do not assume the first price is the fair price. Do not confuse convenience with neutrality. Convenience is often where the margin hides. The easy click has a cost. The California lawsuit may fail. It may succeed. Regulators may find wrongdoing, or they may decide current practices are legal. But one fact is already clear. Algorithms influence more prices than most people realize. The pump was just where people noticed. And that is what makes this story bigger than one company, one lawsuit, or one state. The old market was imperfect, but at least people understood the fight. A station posted a price. A customer reacted. A competitor responded. Now the fight may be happening inside systems most customers never see. The software can observe the neighborhood. It can study the habit. It can recommend the number. And the driver only sees the sign. That is the quiet power of algorithmic pricing. It does not need to shout. It does not need to explain itself. It only needs to learn. So the next time oil prices fall and the pump barely moves, do not just ask why gasoline is expensive. Ask who benefits from the delay. Ask whether the market is competing for you or calculating against you. Ask whether the price is a reflection of cost or a measurement of your tolerance. Because the scariest price is not the one that rises. It is the one that learns exactly when you will stop fighting. In the age of algorithms, the question is no longer what costs more. It is who decided you could bear it.